Let me ask Greg, actually, in terms of if you're trying to be persuasive, you're trying to lead an effort to counter terrorism, doesn't matter what you call it.
Well, imagine if you had an exterminator come to your house.
Okay.
And you have a serious roach problem, and he goes, we don't like to call them roaches. We like to call them little happy flowery things. And we don't want to kill them. We need to re-educate them. You can't educate killers, especially ruthless killers. The idea, what troubles me mostly, we've had this debate about Gitmo forever. It exposes a priority that doesn't make any sense. If you're in the middle of a snowstorm, the first thing you do is you don't strip to your undies. And that's what we're doing. Instead of closing Gitmo, we should be expanding it. We should be franchising it, make it like Taco Bell, but it's Terror Bell. And this is an interesting thing about President Obama's concern over Islamophobia. Why the obsession to close Gitmo? That, in a weird way, exposes the president's bigotry. Because why would a prison that houses terrorists be offensive to Muslims if religion is not a factor? If you believe that religion is not a factor, you should not be worrying about offending 1.7 billion because you have a place that holds terrorists. But by making the link that somehow Gitmo is offensive to Muslims, you are the bigot, not us. I don't see a religion when I see a terrorist. I just see somebody you kill. If you take religion out of the equation, then why are they so sensitive after a terror attack? After every attack, they yell backlash, and that backlash is louder than anybody shouting radical Islam. That's hypocrisy. Why the defensive stance after people kill? That's Islamophobia.
And let me ask you one thing about taking your eye off the ball when you were talking about the priorities and stripping to your undies in a snowstorm or whatever that was. The fact that we have so many Western nationals from Europe and America that have gone to places like Syria or Yemen, now to Libya or Afghanistan to train, and they've come back. I mean, isn't our bigger problem now the fact that we have the sleeper cells to deal with? So we're fighting on multiple fronts, and all of a sudden we're right back to a global war on terror.
Yeah, I mean, these actually aren't people that weren't born here. These are radicalized citizens, which means why we need the NSA. We need people to track these people because they're not foreigners. They are here. They're radicalized or radicalized in prison. You know, the media creates a straw man army. Whenever you condemn radical Islam, what they do is they say, but there are millions of peaceful Muslims. So why do you say this? But did it ever occur to you that there can be both? That there are peaceful Muslims and there are bad ones? And every time that you say that, you are making it harder and harder for the peaceful Muslims to actually stand up and fight the non-peaceful ones by combining them together. They use children to kill. You cannot have a summit on tolerance to dissuade people from using children to blow things up. If they use children to blow things up, you can't persuade them of anything. It's like taking an earthquake to a therapist or teach an end table to dance. It's impossible. Buying a magazine is not enough. Think about this. We know with rape that you never, ever blame the victim. But with terror, you can.
Always.
If you care.
Yeah.
See that contradiction?
It's always their fault, too.
Okay, everybody, we're going to go to break.
They had it coming. They dressed the part.
That's right. And
Charlie was just like a woman who dressed suggestively.
I do really have to get out of here.
I know.
But we're all going to think about your snowstorm unclothing.